Marvel's Thunderbolts face planted harder than anyone expected. Okay, now Thunderbolts was supposed to be the comeback story for Marvel, saying that Marvel is back, the gritty underdog team that would reignite fan interest. But instead, Thunderbolts has become one of the worst performing movies in the MCU history, and no amount of spin can actually save it. Now, the truth is out there. Thunderbolts bombed, and the media can't cover for Marvel anymore. You see, basically the defenders came out quick, and they always do with every movie that flop. The same show protected the Marvels that hyped up Captain America: Brave New World are simply just now lining up to throw their weight behind this movie. Okay, they're saying things like, it's a different kind of Marvel movie, they cried. Except it's not. It's more of the same dull characters, limp dialogue, and nothing worth caring about. And despite what some people or some delusional fans out there are saying, might say, I mean, this movie is not a good movie. It might be marginally better than the Marvels or Brave New World, but that boy is basically underground. I mean, the word better in this case just means less insufferable. Okay. Now, from the start, I've seen this and you've seen this. We all knew how this would go. Thunderbolts would get its, glowing press rollout. The critics would fall in line, and think Marvel was back on track. But fast forward just a few weeks, and here comes the headlines. What went wrong with Thunderbolts? Thunderbolts struggles at the box office every single time. It's basically the same formula. Boosted early, then pretend to be shocked when it really hits. I mean, it's just simply corporate theater and stuff for a cover up, all right? Now, the movie pulled in a total of $353 million globally. That's nightmare for Marvel right there. A massive budget superhero movie pulling in that kind of limp revenue weeks into release. That's just financial failure right there. Especially when you factor in a $180 million production budget, plus marketing, which probably added another $100 million. This movie is simply losing money, all right? And I've been calling it for a lot right now, but the most insane part is how the media, shills, and even a few fans keep trying to frame this as some sort of victory, okay? Thunderbolts assembles a mighty start at the box office. That's what they wrote. Now, what box office exactly are they looking at? Because it's not this one. Now, this movie never had a mighty anything. It limped out the door, clinging to nostalgia and recycled branding, and then the excuse machine kicked into full gear. They're saying stuff like, it's a character study. It's more grounded. It was empty noise, just empty noise trying to sound important, basically. Now, when Brave New World tanked, I mean, they started spinning that and said that it was, basically misunderstood. Okay. Now, when the Marvels collapsed, they blamed the toxic fans or the so-called toxic fans, saying it was a sleeper hit. And meanwhile, in the real world, the fourth weekend overseas brought in just $5.6 million. I compared that to Captain America 4, and it's $9.2 million in its full weekend. You know what that tells you? This is sinking even faster than that disaster. But a lot of people expected this to at least clear $400 million. That was the optimistic forecast. But now, it's not even close. Most projections have it topping out around $385 million, maybe $390 million, if it gets lucky. That's below Brave New World, and this is literally trailing a movie that already had headlines calling it a box office disappointment. Now, basically, this is just a full-on Marvel meltdown under Kevin Feige. The defenders point to positive reviews like they matter anymore. Critics have no credibility left when it comes to Marvel. They said Eternals was a visionary. They said the Marvels was fun. They said Brave New World was important. Okay? But the fact of the matter is now they're saying that this is the best since Endgame. I mean, every time it's the same script, basically. This is Marvel's best in years. And then the numbers come in and the excuses start. Once again. Now, when you actually put Thunderbolts next to the rest of the MCU, the decline actually becomes more obvious. And see, this is a franchise that used to crank out billion-dollar hits with ease, and now Thunderbolts can't even break $400 million. And don't forget, even Black Widow, released during COVID and dumped onto Disney Plus for streaming the same day, made $380 million. The movie is barely crawling ahead of that, and that's with a full theatrical rollout and zero pandemic excuses. All right. But that shouldn't be much of a surprise right there, because Captain America, the first Avenger, made $370 million back in 2011. Adjust that for inflation, and that movie blows the this Thunderbolts movie out the water. Incredible Hulk, released in 2008, did $265 million. Again, adjusted for today's dollars, it's over $400 million. That puts Thunderbolts right near the bottom of the MCU barrel, lower than Eternals, just ahead of the Marvels, and that's the legacy of this movie, basically. But let's be real, this is the third or possibly fourth lowest grossing Marvel movie ever. And when you actually adjust for inflation, this movie might be the second worst. Only the Marvels did worse, but the corporate media doesn't want to talk about that. You see, they're too busy playing defense at this point. They're too scared to admit that Marvel is in real trouble, because if they admit this failed, well, then they'll have to also admit that the whole brand is actually crumbling. All right. And that's exactly what's happening here. Okay. The movie wasn't just a flop. It was just a symptom of a studio that actually forgot what made people care in the first place. You can't just slap together a team of second stringers, toss in a few CGI explosions, and expect audiences to show up. The people are done. They've checked out, and they see through the marketing now. And Thunderbolts proves it. You see, this at all wasn't even a risk. It was just a retreat, basically. And Marvel actually thought that rebranding Thunderbolts as, the new Avengers would actually save them. But in reality, the name didn't even, matter. The cast didn't matter. None of it did. You see, because the heart isn't there anymore. It's all hollow, and people didn't show up for Thunderbolts because, simply put, they've lost faith in the entire MCU. And at this point, who can blame them? Who can blame them? We've had nothing but mediocrity and propaganda for years, okay? And that's actually saying a lot. Now, Marvel wants to hit the reset button with Fantastic Four this summer. Let's be honest, if they actually handle Fantastic Four the same way they handled this particular disaster called Thunderbolts, except more headlines filled with them and delusion. They're saying things like, it's a bold new era. So, meanwhile, the box office will just tell the truth, just like it did with this movie. Audiences aren't buying what Marvel is selling anymore, okay? Now, Thunderbolts is the end result of Marvel running on fumes. No passion, no direction, just manufactured hype backed by empty promises. And despite the media's desperate attempts to go ahead and just pretend otherwise, the numbers exposed everything. It flopped, and hard. Marvel took a shot with Thunderbolts, and it blew up in their faces, okay? And instead of just learning, they're simply just doubling down on failure. At this point, it's pathetic, but it's not surprising. But the worst part isn't the failure. See, it's the dishonesty. The way every outlet tried to go ahead and convince you that Thunderbolts was some kind of secret success, they lied. Flat out lied, and now the movie's sunk. They've moved on, simply pretending it never happened. Same way they did with the Marvels, okay? The same way they did with Brave New World. The cycle never ends, and until Marvel finally hits rock bottom, and with Thunderbolts, well, they're almost there. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button if you enjoyed what we shared in this video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell and the notifications for future uploads and updates. And I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.